Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. This is your ultimate guide to farm survival in Black Ops 7 Zombies. The first thing you'll see when you spawn in is the power, and so I'm going to talk about power, and then I'll talk about perks, the mystery box, the new bin, the new armor, pack-a-punch, all sorts of stuff, but we're starting, very simply, with power. And there'll be chapter markers in the description as well, so you can click around to the parts of the video that you require. The power turning on process begins with you shooting one of the growths on this machine. That will then start a countdown timer, and you need to take out all the other growths in that time. If you don't do it fast enough, you'll just need to start it again the next round. But otherwise, after you've destroyed them all on the outside of the machine, one will spawn on the top of the machine. That will take a little bit more damage to take down, but once you've shot it, it will pop, it will kill the zombies in the area, and you'll then be able to open the barn door on your left-hand side and go up the stairs to activate the power switch up there, and that's power turned on. Very simple. Now, there's some secret technology that we discovered on my stream that can get you into the top floor of the barn without going through the barn doors. So in Black Ops 7 Zombies, there's a wall jump, and you can jump from this hay bale just here onto the wall of the barn and then jump up again, and it's going to get you to the top floor of the barn instantaneously. This is really cool tech to use at any time. It'll break the ankles on the zombies, and it's also really straightforward and reliable to do. Now, there's another crazy wall jump that is a little bit more fiddly, but is also a fun one to use. So you can go to the front of this building, and you can jump off the structure here to get onto the balcony, which is going to give you immediate access to the Wunderfizz machine, which we'll talk about in a second. But first of all, I just want to say to you guys, this building obviously needs to be bought to be opened up. And then you've got one more buyable building on the right-hand side, and that's where you're going to find the mystery box. But we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about this building first. So you buy this middle building, and you'll have access to the Wunderfizz machine. And this is where you're going to buy every single perk in Farm Survival. You're not going to buy any perks from any other machines. The Wunderfizz will be spawned in from the very beginning of your game, so you just need to turn on power in order to use it. And then every perk you buy is going to increase the cost of your next perk by 500 points, just like we saw in Black Ops 6 Zombies. You can also lie down in front of the Wunderfizz and get yourself some free points. There's also a new perk in the Wunderfizz called Wisp T. I personally think it's kind of booty cheeks, but if you want to use it, the way it works is you buy it, you then get a little wisp that will go out and attack zombies. It will not kill the last zombie in a round, so there's round end protection. But aside from that, it will attack zombies near you, and then it will go on cooldown for a bit, and then the wisp will come out again and attack more zombies, and it will just do that over and over again. It is quite a nice way to passively get some damage on a horde while you're hoarding, but don't expect it to be nuking the whole map anytime soon, because it's just not built that way. So let's keep running through some of the sort of systems in the game now, and then we'll talk about how to use them best to get a high round. So let's do the mystery box. That's on the right-hand side. It's going to be 950 points a spin, and there's some new stuff you can do to recycle your guns that we'll talk about in a second. So I'd really recommend hitting the box early in your game. They've also changed the way that the box works in Black Ops 7 Zombies, so it's going to give you higher rarity weapons more quickly. So spinning the box is a really good idea just to advance rarity early as well. You want to be aiming for those blues and purples and eventually orange. If you get green, that's fine, but generally you're going to want to swap that out pretty damn fast. So let's say you spin the box and you get a weapon that you hate. What's this recycling feature that I mentioned? Well, you can run over to this bin called CHOMPY and melee it, and then hold square to feed it your gun, and it's going to give you salvage in return. Now, there's a few pieces of tech that you can use with CHOMPY. First of all, you can throw tomahawks and other lethals into CHOMPY instead of a gun, and it will still give you salvage. So if you've got lethals that you don't want to use, toss them into CHOMPY, you'll be all set. You will need to melee CHOMPY to open CHOMPY up each time you want to put your stuff inside him, so make sure that you're remembering to do that rather than just blindly throwing your lethals. And also, CHOMPY does have a cooldown, and you're going to only be able to use him a couple of times per round. So if you give CHOMPY a nudge and his hole doesn't open up, that's a sign that you just need to wait till next round. Or it could be a sign that you're on a special round, because CHOMPY's hole is closed for business during special rounds. Now, CHOMPY will sometimes reward you for putting enough stuff into... yeah, and that stuff is a Raygun. You can get a free Raygun just for Yeah, so that is a feature that's really cool as well. However, the likelihood of you getting that ray gun is very low. It's very low probability. So you're going to have to make sure that you keep continuously feeding Chompy in order to up your chances of actually getting this. Now, a word of warning is similar to the vending machine in Liberty Falls. If you use Melee Macchiato on the bin, it will destroy it. So you don't want to fist Chompy. You just want to melee it normally. If you use the Melee Mac Fist, it's going to be out of business. It's going to be out of commission. You won't be able to get your rewards. So next, let's talk about Pack-a-Punch. This is located in the left building upstairs in the barn. It's going to be the normal prices you're used to. 5,000 for tier 1, 15k for tier 2, 30k for tier 3. And this is going to increase your damage for each tier that you upgrade to. Now, you can also upgrade the rarity of your weapons in this, and that will upgrade your damage as well. The arsenal machine to do this is located downstairs in the new area underneath the farm, and you can get to it through one of two entrances, either right here or right here. And you can spend salvage to upgrade your weapon rarity. You can also use salvage to buy ammo mods, and there's a new ammo mod, Fireworks, available in this as well. But if you don't have access to it yet, that's probably because you're too low level and you need to level up more. There are only a couple more physical things in the map that we need to talk about before we start doing high roundy stuff and that sort of thing. So the first is the Rampage Inducer. This has been nerfed in Black Ops 7 to be slower in the first 20 rounds, but it will still make zombies run much faster. And it's generally something that's worth doing if you're an experienced player, just to make your game go quicker, but you can always turn it off at any time as well. There's also one trap available in the farm, and it's outside the barn door here. It's going to cost 1,000 points. It will attract zombies that are near to it, but will not attract zombies that are far away, and it will insta-kill zombies indefinitely as far as I am aware. This trap is the GOAT. It will carry you to high rounds, I promise, and we'll talk more about strats for that a little later in the video. It also goes on a short cooldown after you've used it, and you'll then hear a little noise when it's ready to be used again, and the switch for it will go green too. So that's the physical stuff in the map. Let's talk about the new enemies now. We've got Ravagers, which are the special round enemies, and these will spawn in during the regular rounds as well, and they will steal your salvage, which is very annoying, but it also means that you are actually paying attention to them, which is more than can be said, I think, for things like Parasites and Black Ops 6. Those were a little bit of a walk in the park. So the Ravagers will steal all your stuff that's on the ground, so make sure to pick your stuff up and kill the purple ones as well, and I believe that gives you salvage. I think that they're sort of imbued with salvage when they're doing that. And I think that's a sign also that they've taken your stuff when they're purple. So when you get them for a special round, you take out the last Ravager and you'll get a max ammo. During regular rounds, they will not give you maxes, but they will still try and steal your stuff. There's also a new elite enemy called the Zerser, and this is the bear that first spawns at round 16 and then spawns every 4 rounds or so afterwards, and then around round 30 you're going to get 2 Zersers per Zerser round, and these things are really annoying. Straight up, I think that they're very frustrating. They are weak to fire, like they're weak to Napalm Burst. So the Napalm Burst alternate ammo type in the Arsenal machine is going to be your best friend for this. They are also stunned for quite a long time by stun grenades. So stun grenades are quite good for taking them down. I've also heard that using like triple packed melee weapons with Melee Macchiato and Napalm means that they're like only a couple melees to take down. So that might be worth a go. But the sort of traditional way to take them down is you need to destroy their little glowing beehives on them. That will then drop a beehive onto the floor, and you can then destroy that beehive optionally, or it will just destroy itself after a period of about 30 seconds. Taking out the beehive on the Zerser itself will chunk the Zerser's health bar, and you can do that 3 times, and then the Zerser will have weak points exposed, which are little red glowing points on it, which you can shoot to crit it and do more damage. My preferred strategy for taking down Zerser is using Tomahawks, because it's 1 Tomahawk per weak spot, and it just means that it goes a lot faster. You're always going to do good damage to a Zerser using Tomahawks. Now, sadly, there's one more type of special enemy that will spawn in on the map. It's round 40 plus, and it's Doppelghasts from Black Ops 6 Zombies. So these at launch don't have any elemental weaknesses because Light Mend is not in the game, but Light Mend is being added at Season 1, so it will then have an elemental weakness to Light Mend if you want to use that. You can, however, use upgraded melee to do loads of damage to them, just like the Zerser as well. And when they die, they're going to send out a big spike emission thing, so make sure you don't get hit by that or it's going to stagger you for a moment. So those are the new enemy types. There's obviously the regular zombies, there's armored zombies, stuff like that too. There are a few tips I want to give you about high rounds, but first, I do also want to mention some of the new features in Black Ops 7, such as the new melee changes. So you can now get 150 50 points for meleeing a zombie in the head and basically critting with your melee, which is awesome because previously you would get much fewer points. So keep an eye out for those early round zombies that you can melee in the head and you'll point farm a little bit more effectively. And also something to be wary of is that in Black Ops 7 Zombies, your field upgrade recharges slower each time you use it. So try not to use your field upgrade too often, like only use it when you have to. Otherwise, you're basically never going to recharge it ever again. It's just going to take way too long and you're going to be cooked. Also, a tip from my chat, a 4 Loose Goose in my Twitch chat says, suppressors do still give more salvage, even though it doesn't state it in the menu. So you might want to play with that for your loadout as well. Now let's talk wonder weapons. There are a few wonder weapons available in Farm Survival. You can get the Raygun, like I talked about, with the CHOMPY bin. You can also get the Raygun Mark II. Both of these are pretty strong in my experience so far, and both can be brought to tier 3 Pack-a-Punch as well, but their rarity cannot be changed. So now let's talk about how to survive in this survival map. Okay, I think that in the early rounds, you're going to have an okay time so long as you're spinning the box to get some extra rarity upgrades and you're not trying to buy every single perk immediately, but instead you're being a bit more picky and saying, I'll probably buy an early Vulture Aid because then I'll earn more points back from getting all my kills. And I might buy an early Deadshot, for example, so that I can do that extra crit damage. But I might not buy, for example, PhD or things like that until I actually really need it later in the game once I have a Raygun. Now, as soon as you get, I'd say like a blue rarity weapon from the mystery box, and I would recommend spinning the box to get that, I would basically stop spinning the box for a little bit and just use that weapon. And the thing that you need to be careful of is that you're going to end up points poor very quickly if you're not careful. So do not frivolously spend your points, okay? Make sure that you're being efficient with your points. Use up the ammo in your guns before you buy ammo or before you're going to get a max ammo. Make sure that you're using up all of that ammunition. Do things like use tomahawks as much as you can because those tomahawks are going to earn you points, obviously, but they're going to be infinitely usable so long as you keep picking them up. And make sure you remember also that at least in the beta, the perks are not going to have augments, whereas in the main game, they will have augments, so that's going to change the strats just a little bit. I also think stims are pretty good. If you're on low health and you just stim up, that can be pretty fire. And later into your game, if you're struggling for points and you're like, damn, how am I going to kill zombies here? My bullet guns are too weak. I really recommend buying some monkeys with all the salvage that you'll get from feeding guns into Chompy and using those monkeys to try and take out zombies as best as you can. Now, I like using fireworks on my bullet gun and firing the fireworks into the middle of the monkey bomb. And that way they're all grouped and the fireworks does loads of damage, takes out a load of zombies, and then obviously the monkey helps me take them down as well. You can get points from using the trap, but it's so few that you don't really want to be relying on that completely. Like, you do need to have some other strats in mind for how you're going to point farm as you go. I also wouldn't recommend doing the trap strat until you get to maybe past round 20, 25, that kind of area, because earlier in your game, you need to just be farming points to buy all of those perks. It's really important. And remember, like I said before, if you want to feed Chompy to get salvage and you're like, well, I don't want to be putting guns in here every single round, feed him your lethals, right? You're going to have loads of those on the floor and you'll end up with loads of salvage very quickly, which will help you buy monkeys as well. And you can also buy extra self-revives there should you so require. So let's say you get to round 25, round 30, you want to start implementing something of a bit more of a strategy, right? You can start your round somewhere back here towards the back of the farm. This is a spot that's going to mean that a lot of zombies are going to spawn back there, but it's going to be a little clearer for you in the kind of front area. And you can then immediately leave that area, run out of that little corridor, get into that front area, group the zombies behind you, and then hit the trap. That can be literally the first thing that you do. While this is happening, once you get to the later rounds, a Doppelgast is going to spawn, and I would tomahawk that immediately. 2 tomahawks and maybe a couple of bullets will kill it. But if you've not got a Doppelgast yet, you're chilling. You can just stand on top of this structure next to the trap and wait for the trap to finish. Then when the trap is no longer active, you can get out of there, run in a little circle, throw some tomahawks as well, and just keep doing big loops here. Don't try and camp anywhere. Don't try and sit in the back area. Like, it's just going to get you killed very fast. You want to keep moving and basically move and use your tomahawks until your trap is active again, and then just hit the trap once more and let it kill all the zombies. Now, if you're wondering if there's any weapon preference that you should have, my chat really likes LMGs. I personally am never never really a big LMG fan. I find that they're too clunky, but my chat does really like them. I've found some reasonable success with the ARs, I suppose, but a lot of the ARs in the game are just generally quite weak anyway, so you don't have a great option here. The main thing that you want to be looking for is getting a Raygun or a Raygun Mark II. And so you're going to be spinning the mystery box later in your game when you've got free points to spend. You're then going to be seeing if you get the Raygun, and your chances will increase the later into the game that you get as well. And then each time you get a weapon that you don't like, you're going to be putting that into Chompy's hole and seeing if you get a Raygun in return or if you just get salvage instead. So let's say you're doing this strat and the bear spawns in, then what do? Well, I personally think that you don't want to have the trap active while you're trying to kill the bear, because it's going to mean that certain zombies are running one way, certain zombies are running another, they're constantly respawning, and it makes it much more sketchy. I'd instead recommend allowing the zombies to just basically all group up into a big bunch, and then just tomahawk the bear to death. It's going to be very straightforward, and you can then go back to killing the zombies once the bear is dead. Now, there are other options, like for example, you can use Toxic Growth on the bear, and Toxic Growth is the new field upgrade that you can switch to inside the game's menu once you unlock it. That is absolutely an option as well, just like stunning, using stun grenades, that's an option. But just specifically with the trap itself, I think I would just recommend you to be wary, because it will mean that you have infinite zombie spawns, which makes it a bit more chaotic. There's also a new thing in Black Ops 7 Zombies called point turrets, and those point turrets will basically just do damage to stuff while you're running around. You can buy these from the crafting bench, which is inside the barn, like I said. I personally don't use these a huge amount because I'm so locked in on my throwing knives, my tomahawks. But you can grab them and throw them if you see them and then just pick your tomahawks up again. That's totally fine. And also, anytime I'm not holding monkeys to throw to earn some points, I'm holding stims. Like, you should be holding stims in those moments. Just grab the monkeys for when you want to earn points specifically. Also, for those later rounds, when you get to a Ravager round, just use the trap, okay? Just use the trap straight away. Literally, as soon as you realize it's a special round, use the trap. It will kill all of them, and it will make it so easy. And you can then lie down underneath the trap and crawl to get your max ammo, and you'll be sorted. If you don't do this, you're going to have 1 million men chasing you, trying to steal your lunch money, and it's terrifying. So use the trap. It's a really good idea. So that's going to wrap it up for my ultimate guide of the map. I've explained all the features in it and how to move around and kind of get stuff done. If you want a specific high round guide with much more in-depth examples, then that's going to be linked on the screen right now. And that will also unlock you a calling card for the beta if you're playing in the beta for getting to round 50. So click through to that video now and I'll see you there.